Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba ututeremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi hii yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amina.
Honorable members, we do not have the requisite numbers, so I direct that the bell to be rung for 10 minutes. The quorum bell to be rung for 10 minutes.
Honorable Chris Omulele has just ordered that the bell be rung for 10 minutes. This is the quorum bell. It will be rung for 10 minutes to allow members to get into the chambers. As you can see at the entrance of the National Assembly, members are slowly walking in. There is the member for Kaloleni constituency, Honorable Katana. Members are slowly getting into the chambers. Before the commencement of the business for this particular period, the House requires a maximum of 50 members for the commencement of the House business. But at the beginning of the sitting this morning, the quorum has not been achieved, thereby the Speaker ordering that the bell be rung, an allowance of 10 minutes. This is according to standing orders, that bell will be rung for 10 minutes to allow members get into the chambers. Honorable Omboko Milemba, they are walking in. So before the House commences its business, the Speaker will have to ensure that members have acquired or achieved the requisite number of 50 members. But on the floor of the House for debate this morning, various members will have the opportunity to ask questions for reply before specified committees, and this is according to provisions of Standing Order 42A, subsection 5. Member for Kisumu West, Honorable Olago Aluoch, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development and Public Works to provide information on land acquired in Kisumu for a primary school. It's called Usoma Primary School, that is situated next to Kisumu International Airport. He will also be seeking the Cabinet Secretary to provide a list indicating names of the persons from whom the aforementioned parcels of land were acquired, how much was paid for each parcel, and confirm that the respective titles have since been processed in favor of the school, what action the ministry has taken to ensure that the authority consolidates the different titles into one title in favor of the school, and fenced the said land so as to keep away trespassers and eliminate any possibility of previous owners encroaching on the school land. These questions will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. Again, the member for Kwanza, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, will also be asking questions to the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation to provide the status of the desiltation works at KBC Online, Aseka and Marinda dams in Kwanza constituency, whether the Cabinet Secretary could also provide the names of dams and water pans that the ministry plans to construct in Kwanza constituency to facilitate provision of water for household use and irrigation in the constituency. These particular questions will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Member for Magarini, Honorable Michael Kingi, will also be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Education to provide the status report regarding the financing of special education schools in Magarini constituency, whether the Cabinet Secretary could also state the amount of funds disbursed to Marafa Special School to date since it was registered in 2016 and explain how the said monies have been utilized. Whether the Cabinet Secretary could further state the measures that the ministry has put in place to allocate and disburse adequate funds to support learning of children with special needs in Magarini constituency. These questions are said to be replied before the Departmental Committee on Education and Research. Members are walking into the chambers. Currently, the Quorum Bell is underway. 10-minute Quorum Bell is underway for members to get into the chambers to enable the House achieve its requisite number before the commencement of the business. This is an order according to the standing orders. Honorable Omulele is presiding over this morning's sitting, and he has just ordered that the bell be rung for members to be given time to get into the chambers for business over the day, or rather for business scheduled for consideration this morning on the floor of the House to kick off. It is a 10-minute Quorum Bell, and after that, if the quorum is not achieved, a further 5 minutes will be given for members to get into the chambers. There is a number of bills that are on the second stage and are lined up for debate on the floor of the House this morning. The Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly, Bill number 40 over 2021, tabled by Honorable Nimrod Mbai, as well as the Penal Code Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 47 of 2021, tabled by Honorable David Gikaria, tabled for second reading. Honorable David Sankok is at the entrance, also walking into the chambers. 50 members are required to be in the House before the commencement of the House business. The Whistleblower Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2021, tabled by Honorable Irene Kasalu, also lined up for Second reading, Honorable Godfrey Osotsi there, walking in. Currently, the Quorum Bell is underway. A 10-minute Quorum Bell is underway. 50 members are required to be seated, physically seated in the House to enable the House start its business. The Higher Education Loans Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 52 of 2021, tabled by Honorable Gideon Koske, is also lined up for second reading. It is quite a loaded order paper for the members in this morning's sitting. 31 bills are lined up on this order paper this morning for second reading, as well as a debate. According to Standing Order 34, that talks about the quorum at the commencement of the House, is that if there is not a quorum present when the chair is taken, at the time appointed for a meeting of the House, immediately after the saying of the prayer, the Speaker shall order the bell to be rung for 10 minutes. And that is basically what is currently underway, a 10-minute quorum bell for the members to get into the chambers. And if no quorum is present at the expiration of the 10 minutes, the Speaker may direct that the bell to be rung for another 5 minutes. But as you can see at the entrance, members are trickling into the chambers. We hope that at the end of the 10 minutes, the quorum will have been achieved for members to start the business of the day. The Speaker may direct that the bell be rung for a further 5 minutes at the expiration of these 10 minutes that is currently underway. And if there is still no quorum present, then the Speaker shall adjourn the House forthwith to the next sitting. The quorum bell is what is currently underway. The Children Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2020. Well, the quorum is yet to be achieved. The quorum is yet to be achieved. 50 members need to be physically in the House. This is according to what is required at this particular moment. But as you can see, members are quickly, there is Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe also has just walked in, perhaps from whipping members to come to the chambers. There is crucial business on the floor of the House. 31 bills are lined up for a debate or for second reading as well as consideration this morning. The Children Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2020 by Honorable Peter Kaluma, which is set to be, or rather which is at the second stage, and subject to decision of the House on National Bill number 38 of 2021. Says that the object of the bill is to amend the Children Act number 8 of 2021 to be in conformity with the Constitution. The bill seeks to vest equal responsibility for parental care and protection of a child in both the mother and the father.
You must recall that when the Quorum Bell is ringing, members should not leave the chamber. Those are the rules. The only members who are allowed to leave when the Quorum Bell is ringing is the whips. The Honorable Wangwe and the Honorable Eseli and their deputies.
Honorable Chris Somulele, reminding members of the rules that while the Quorum Bell is underway, then members should not walk out of the chambers. Remember, at the end of the day, what the Quorum Bell seeks to achieve is for members to be physically sitting in the chambers for the commencement of the business. Thereby, if members walk out, perhaps the quorum, or rather the numbers that are expected to be achieved, may delay. The Children Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2020 by Honorable Peter Kaluma, which is subject to decision of the House on National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2021, seeks to amend the Children Act number 8 of 2001 to be in conformity with the Constitution. The bill seeks to vest equal responsibility for parental care and protection of a child in both the mother and the father, whether they are married to each other or not. The bill further provides that neither the father nor the mother of the child.
The member for Mwingi West, you cannot leave. We are about to start. When the Quorum Bell is ringing, you sit and wait patiently. Honorable members, I think we have the quorum now. We can start business now.
Well, Honorable Omlele has just said that the quorum has been achieved. I will now hand you over for the live broadcast.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, we have questions, and the first one is by the Honorable Member for Kisumu West, the Honorable Olago Alwoch. Proceed, the Honorable Olago.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to ask question number 085 of 2022 to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development and Public Works. 1. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain how the Kenya Airports Authority fully acquired land parcel numbers Kisumu/Kogony/172, 175, 176, 177, 184, 206 and 207, and also partially acquired land parcel numbers Kisumu-Kogony 180 and 203 for the relocation of Usomo Primary School situated next to Kisumu International Airport. 2. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list indicating names of the person from whom the aforementioned parcels of land were acquired, how much was paid for each parcel, and confirm that the respective titles have since been processed in favor of the school. Number 3, what action has the ministry taken to ensure that the authority consolidates the different titles into one title in favor of the school and fence the said land so as to keep away trespassers and eliminate any possibility of previous owners encroaching on the school land? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That question will be replied to before the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. The next question is by the Honorable Member for Kwanza, the Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask a question number 88 of 2022 to the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide the status of the desiltation works at Kapsitwet, Aseka, and Marinda Tams in Kwanza constituency? Question number 2, the Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide the names of the dams and the water ponds that the ministry planned to construct in Kwanza constituency to facilitate provision of water for household use and irrigation in my constituency, Kwanza? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
That question will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. The next question is by the member for Magarini, the Honorable Michael King.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask question number 089 of 2022, directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. 1, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the status report regarding the financing of special education schools in Magarini constituency? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary also state the amount of funds disbursed to Marafa Special School, registration number 03S2000/0438 to date since it was registered in 2016, and explain how the said monies have been utilized? 3, could the Cabinet Secretary further state the measure that the ministry have put in place to allocate and disperse adequate funds to support learning of children with special needs in Magarini constituency? Thank you.
The question will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Education and Research. So that does it for questions. I direct that we move on to the next business.
Order number 8, the Information Communication Technology Practitioners Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2020, second reading, resumption of debate.
Honorable members, this motion was moved by the Honorable Godfrey Osotsi and seconded by the Honorable Patrick Musimba. And it now has a balance of 3 hours, 12 minutes. And the first member with interest on my list is the Honorable Muli Fabian, member for Kangundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving the opportunity to debate on this motion. Honorable Speaker, not only this House having information and confirmation and technology centers, the whole country, that is what we are crying. It is the cry within the jurisdiction of this country. As we look, this country, people need to be informed, and especially our people, they are getting information which are just propagandas in the internet. You see the work of this House, we have many agendas. There's a lot of due process which happen in this House, but you get the community what they are getting propagandas from WhatsApp group and Facebook groups. So when we become institution-based in terms of giving information, we end up giving our citizens a proper material, which they can also use for reference in something which was passed in the House, like bills, like motions, like questions which can be used by the community. Not only, Honorable Speaker, seeing the benefit of communication in this House, we need to see the large, especially if you see the education sector of this country. We are giving people a lot of material in school, especially in terms of IT technology, in terms of communication. But the substance which need to be transmitted to the students, it is sometimes which you get the information from the third material. The third material, I need to say that Some students, they have to travel to come here to do benchmarking. The day they come for benchmarking, they only have time to sit in the public gallery, they hear what is happening, but there is no a channel in this house which has base to give the community what happened in this house. So that's why, Honorable Speaker, I support this motion. And not only establishment, Honorable Speaker, we need to have the means how our people will get the information, not like what is happening in public media in Kenya, in Kenya jurisdiction. We're having televisions which they choose the message to give the people. If the TV, they don't support some material which are happening, they don't transmit. So we want this house to act democratically in terms of giving information. Whether it's opposing the government or supporting the government, all the material must be transmitted. There are a lot of motions and there are a lot of bills which are passed here. I remember there is a lot of complaint about the payment of village elders.
Speaker, you will find that almost every college now has training in a computer. And when they have this kind of training, we need to be able to regulate, to understand that the level at which those students are being trained is at par with any other standards worldwide or within our region. Therefore, this bill, once it is passed, we hope that it will be able to look at the quality of training within the various colleges, whether somebody bring all these professionals together so that we can be able to have a body that we can be able to ask authoritatively for any other issues pertaining to the ICT sector. So with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to support.
The Honorable Martin Owino, Member for Ndiwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to add my voice to this, and I want to support this bill and also congratulate Honorable Sotsi. Mr. Speaker, this is a timely bill because if you look across the globe, ICT is the of government, is the access to information and services. We talk of e-citizens, where now our citizens are getting services. Also is key to good governance because it is effective, efficient, and also holds accountability. It makes business efficient globally. It decreases the demand of face-to-face meetings. Mr. Speaker, you can remember during COVID, even this House had to resort to ICT in order to transact business using the Zoom. It also makes it easy for our people to search for jobs and also employers to do recruitment. It reduces transaction costs worldwide and also make meetings, payrolls, and e-education more possible. Mr. Speaker, we talk of and also how arrogant countries can be disciplined in the financial sector. And they're using ICT to do that. So having said that, Mr. Speaker, the objective and reason for this bill is correctly so, because it looks at the framework which should be used in the ICT. As Dr. Pokosi said so, very rightly I support that we have to have that kind of continuity. If these cybers and mushrooming training centers are training, what are they training? If it is certificate, is it uniform across the country? How about their fees? Because some charge others more, some charge less, and it's just a chaotic thing.
and even in changing the views in a whole and the direction of our whole country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we really need to pass this bill as a House so that this very important noble profession can also be regulated. Honorable Speaker, through the passage of this bill, we will be able to regulate cyber crimes, we'll be able to regulate information and protect information of individuals in our banking system. Honorable Speaker, the passage of this bill will ensure that even as we are in a campaign season, the media houses are protected from bullying from politicians, and also the media houses will also equally air professionally information that are very important for Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, you also find that now we have another very important platform in the social media which can be used to tear a country apart. We need to be able to regulate also those on the social media platform. Honorable Speaker, even the mainstream media will be regulated in terms of the contents of what they air. Some contents require parental control, Honorable Speaker. Some contents are not supposed to be for the public consumption. I can just give an example of what happened recently in State House, where there was a lot of backbiting of the Deputy President that he wanted to impeach the President. And in a mother tongue that some of us, because any impeachment of a President will go through Parliament, will be prosecuted through Parliament. Some of us will not understand that mother tongue. So we are being backbited in State House. And if it was, the law was there, then this information should be treated as just some little ngumzo mtaani, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, so I think this bill is very important. It has come at the right time so that to regulate.
The Honorable Sankok, just hold on.
There is importance.
Just hold on. The Honorable Wangwe seems to have a point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Standing Order 91 provides that a member should be held liable for the information that he commits or he communicates to us. Can the member, Honorable Speaker, confirm that through his information, they have backed State House, and so State House is in danger, and our House, which is House number 1, can be listened to? The President is discussing, and therefore, Honorable Speaker, confirm to the nation
to impeach you. It is, and did I agree? Yes. No, this I didn't. So, Honorable Speaker, so I was almost even through.
The Honorable Sankok, you're continuing to offend. The President of Kenya is the President.
Okay.
Is the President. Let's just give him his respect. It is good to give
well
him
guided.
Respect. We might disagree with him here and there, but he's still the President.
Well guided. Yes. Well guided. So thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I know Honorable Wangwe is agitated and he may report me, but he should be aware that nowadays I pass very far. I don't pass towards State House. It may be claimed that I went there for other things. So, Honorable Speaker, this bill, I do support this bill, and that it is very important, and I congratulate Honorable Ososi. Go on, you are a nominated member like me, and you are really prosecuting your duties very well. So, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Very well, Sankok. The Honorable Sankok, these political dispensations that we belong to, they are very seasonal. So don't take away the foundations of society just because we might be in this dispensation tomorrow. Things change quite rapidly, but the state and the presidency will remain for forever. The Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, member for Kapchai.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I would wish also to give my support to this bill. The ICT practitioners bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's high time we need a lot of sanity in this ICT department. This is a sector, Mr. Speaker, where liabilities should be taken off. Should one be running a cyber, issues that come under him, Mr. Speaker, this person should stand responsible. And the only way to move towards the direction of responsibility, Mr. Speaker, is to go the doctor's way, where you are trained and registered as one. So for you to run one, Mr. Speaker, you must be first trained in the same career. You must be able to understand what you are doing, not because of business as such only, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, when I look at this bill, Mr. Speaker, it's going to bring the traceability factor. You can be able to trace, Mr. Speaker, where a crime happened, by whom, Mr. Speaker, because every farm now will be registered. It will stand responsible for any doings that they do. So, Speaker, this is a field that is well abused in this country. It's abused in a way, Mr. Speaker, that even the malpractice, the over-exaggeration of this, Mr. Speaker, has even moved into the financial sector, Mr. Speaker. The financial sector, Mr. Speaker, that is going to employ the ICT factor, Mr. Speaker, must also be able to stand responsible, must be able to stand for what they put, Mr. Speaker, and the secrecy aspect, which this bill seeks to bring, Mr. Speaker, makes me support it. Also, Mr. Speaker, when you look at this should not be a practice for everyone, Mr. Speaker. Everyone who believes that he can buy some few things and start without knowing how to regulate it, stand it, Mr. Speaker. And even those who operate in it must be trained at a certain level. Certificate holders must register at this level, diploma holders, and even degree holders, Mr. Speaker. So for us to bring discipline into this sector, Mr. Speaker, we must first of all know who must run. And if you run this organization, then you must be having this kind of training. I want to believe that the most honorable who brought this bill, Mr. Speaker, is a professional right in it. And he has given us the best, Mr. Speaker. And if we look at what he has given us, Mr. Speaker, this National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2020, Mr. Speaker, if we do work with it, support it up to the end, and it passes up, Mr. Speaker, this country will be now a country that every part of the world should come and set precedent and read and learn the law that we have made that govern our department. Otherwise, if we don't go this direction, Mr. Speaker, this country is going in for the docks. Everybody is going to malign. Everybody is going to write at the most abused department of how the political department, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you find one putting up information that doesn't belong to you. Even, Mr. Speaker, we must reach a level where we have some photograph in implantation, Mr. Speaker. You get your body with a different head on wrong information, Mr. Speaker. So we must trace and see who owns which farm and how can we, first of all, know how to put up. So, Mr. Speaker, this bill is the best, is long overdue. I believe that it has come the right time. And Honorable Sosi, thank you for making this bill very good for us. We shall work faster on it, Mr. Speaker, and bring sanity into our country. Mr. Speaker, ICT is very critical in this country. ICT is very critical for purposes of communication. Right from every sector now, Mr. Speaker. Even learning, Mr. Speaker. We must be able to know which materials are placed on table for learners, Mr. Speaker. So for us to bring sanity, see which materials for learners in schools and where, Mr. Speaker, we must bring order in this department. Thank you, and I support this, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. The Honorable Wangwe, do you desire to speak to this?
Yes. Thank you, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this motion, this bill, by the great member of nominated member, the Honorable Sotsi. Honorable Speaker, when you look at this bill, it really looks at the establishing the framework, especially to do with the training registration, licensing, practice, and standards of information technology. Honorable Speaker, ICT is the root of everything. But when it came to Kenya, allow me to say, like Africa, it was like something very new, something which was assumed to be Western. And Honorable Speaker, since its inception into the African continent, it has not really been embraced the same way it has been in the West. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, when you look at what Honorable Source is trying to do, he is trying to align, Honorable Speaker, that the practitioners can really be regulated in terms of both the training and the practicing of the ICT sector, Honorable Speaker. When you look at the training, Honorable Speaker, very many mushrooming colleges are on the streets. You want to take anything, they say these are packages, and they combine and say when you get 24 packages, these are diploma. Honorable Speaker, surely it doesn't make sense that you now just go to the street, learn how to do an ICT, it's called something, computer driving. You wonder whether you are driving a computer or what are you doing. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, this bill shall now bring sense and really establish ICT as a career. We want to embrace it, both from the lowest training level to the highest, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to practice, what is happening in the field, both in software and hardware, you find, Honorable Speaker, a very well-trained engineer from Jomo Kenyatta University, which is my university, Honorable Speaker. He has undertaken a course of 5 years in computer engineering. He is able to demonstrate what he can be able to do. But what happens, Honorable Speaker, in between, there are those people who just say, I'm a guru in ICT. You bring him on board, he comes, and because, Honorable Speaker, you are a user, you are not a specialist in the training of ICT, he just charges you anything that he feels like. So, Honorable Speaker, when this, all this, when it's compounded and put together, and now be regulated through one organization, I think, Honorable Speaker, it is going to fly well. Similarly to the legal practitioners, Honorable Speaker, where lawyers respect that when they mess up, at least there is an organization which will be, your customer will report you or your client will report you to an organization, the Law Society of Kenya, or any other organized society, Honorable Speaker, which can regulate. Honorable Speaker, marketers, when we make mistakes, we have the Marketing Society of Kenya, which will now correct you on which way you are supposed to do. And similarly, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Source is saying, even in practice, let these people be regulated, let them be coordinated, let them be organized, so that, Honorable Speaker, the users can benefit, not to be overcharged, not to sell wrong services. Honorable Speaker, you find that you want to host your data on a particular cloud. Just because you do not know what a cloud is, you cannot see the cloud itself, but your data is being stored somewhere. Somebody just charges you an enormous amount. And somebody just even can access your data without your knowledge, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, it's important that at least there is a professional who can be looking at these people, who also understands the ICT sector and can see who is doing the right practice and who is messing up the sector, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to fraudsters, you look at most of the fraudsters, Honorable Speaker, are ICT based. They want to look at yourself from the ICT angle. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, if this bill is enacted into law, what is going to tell us is that fraudsters, especially those who are cyber-based, will now be checked. At least somebody can be somewhere, a big organization is now able to check on behalf of the national security, is sensitive to that kind of crime, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, this is a good bill, Honorable Speaker. It is timely, and it's good that it's being brought by a guru, an ICT guru himself, who is also eyeing to be a senator. I think he is beating by to this House, and we wish you well. As you go to the Senate, please remember that the Senate will remain the lower house, and this National Assembly will still be the upper house until such a time when it will be optional. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I wish the proposal of this bill a good move. I wish you good health, and in the next 3 months, let's see you in the Senate. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support.
3 months, the Honorable Wang. Elections coming earlier than I know. But we wish you well, the Honorable Sotsi. And the Honorable Wangwe, it is true. The pricing of ICT services in this country is one very difficult field to travel for, especially those of us who are not experts like yourself and the Honorable Sotsi. So if we regulate it, will be a good thing. The Honorable Wanyonyi Kevin, member for Kwanza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Honorable Tsotsi, my neighbor, the incoming Senator for Viga, for this very important motion or bill 38 for to do the regulation. First of all, the training. I don't even know what happens. And those who, I'm an economist myself, and we have a reference. And therefore, I think it is good for us to be able to know the training reference, what you do, what is there, what is the syllabus of the whole thing, so that it can be actually registered. You know, we have busybodies out there, and as mentioned by those who have spoken before me, there is no regulation. They are registered, they are not registered, they just come up and we don't know what they do. Licensing, they also must be licensed, because any professional, even a doctor, the speaker, they are registered. So we know so and so. Dr. Otsotsi, if he's a daktari, is registered in whatever premises. They are not. And of course, when they do the practice, and for those of you who don't know, they will do anything. They can even cheat you, and you pay for that. And so we then have the standard in which we can now, even if you go for the service, you know that they have been registered, therefore has passed through the legal way, so that when they charge you according to the standard. They don't overcharge you, they don't undercharge you. They are just not bogus people on the streets. So this particular bill is long overdue, and I want to thank Honorable Tsotsi for coming up with this bill. Congratulations, my brother. And so then you will be able to have many companies, institutions that may raise and may have that. And of course, all in all, with this kind of thing, again, to be looking for employment. The youth out there are not employed. And we have that problem, and I think, again, this is one way of actually people going to that particular profession, and once it's done and established, maybe at the University of Nairobi, whatever institution there is, people coming from there are employed regular, and of course they'll have the minimum or the maximum or whatever, and the training and the further trainings. That again you are providing, and you are clearly providing, and there's a chain of effect to the extent that people will be able to gain from it. We have the media houses that air this, and because we have no regulation, they can say anything. But if it's not within the regulated system of the IT, of course, then of course one can be able to be charged and face the law as it is. Social media must be, so you know, we have even busybody down there, and there was this morning I was discussing with a few friends of mine who are the so-called ICT practitioners, can do anything, can say anything. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you, I don't take an iota of that. I don't even think about it, because I think it's just good, it's a wild guess. And therefore, this particular bill will be able to bring some sanity, and of course, people will be able to do what they're supposed to do professionally. And people respect the profession. If your child will be able to go through that, you know it's a professional person. It's even like engineering. It's like practice medicine, what have you. And therefore, all in all, I must say I support this as a bill, and let's pass it yesterday, not today. You should have passed it yesterday, so that you can have some sanity in our system. I support.
The Honorable Nyamai, member for Kitui South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. for giving me this opportunity to also contribute. I would like to, from the onset, say that I do support this bill, and I would like to congratulate the Honorable Ososi for following his passion. This is what he has studied in school, and following to ensure that it is properly regulated. The purpose of this bill, Honorable Speaker, is to ensure that there is proper training, proper registration, licensing, practicing, and ensuring that there is proper standards in ICT. Mr. Speaker, as other members have said, is that the world has become digital, and every other thing we do is in one way or another digitized. So for that reason, it is important that this bill is passed by this House, and I can see that it was published in the year 2020. The wait has been very long, and I would like to thank the House also for ensuring that it is prioritized. Honorable Speaker, this bill is going to ensure that there are proper ethical considerations into what goes into our ICT system. Mr. Speaker, if you want to know anything in this world today, and also in our country, which has actually embraced ICT at a very good level, I think almost over 60% of Kenyans have some form of access to information through ICT, is that there will be proper ethical considerations into what goes into our gadgets. So it is a very important bill. Honorable Speaker, this bill also looks at not only the process of acquisition of information into our ICT system, but also ensuring that the product that people get has been taken through a process and has been vetted by institutions. So I would like to say that for that reason, I support this bill. Honorable Speaker, this bill is also going to ensure that there are some provisions to ensure that misuse of computer and cyber crimes is also implemented in a good way. Honorable Speaker, I think all of us in this House, I do not know whether you have been a victim of computer bullying and misuse of the gadgets. I think all of us, many politicians, and more so women members of parliament.
The Honorable Nyamai, I can confirm to you that I have been vilified on many, many occasions. I confirm. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for confirming that not only women but also men politicians have been affected because of misuse of the gadgets. So I hope that when this bill becomes an act of parliament, that people, not only politicians, but people out there who are doing what they do best will also be protected. Honorable Speaker, I would also like to point out that everything has become digital, from good health, what we eat. If someone wants to cut weight, they'll be going to a computer. So I would like to ask that the Honorable Ososi kindly find a way of ensuring that in this bill, this good bill that you have come up with, as a way of connecting to health, because we have digital health, we have digital economy, we have I talked about, Honorable Speaker, I'm being distracted by the Honorable Pukose, but I had said that we are talking about health connection to the computer system. We have security connected to computer system. We have almost everything connected to computer system. So I would like to request, Honorable Speaker, the committee that will be handling this, also to ensure that there is a form of connectedness between ICT itself and all these other professions, because the people will seem to consult the computer first, even before they go to the doctor. Honorable Speaker. With regard to economy, Mr. Honorable Speaker, this bill is going to also ensure that we have a way of ensuring that we collect as much as possible. Most young people are highly talented, and they have gone to the ICT where they are able to push up their talents. So this will also be a way of ensuring that our KRA system will be able to know those who are collecting so much from their talents, and they can also increase revenue collection. Honorable Speaker, we'll also be able to eliminate quacks. Everyone seems to be going to ICT. I think this is a way of ensuring that we first of all appreciate that there are people who have been highly trained. Now we have young people who have done data science, other people are doing artificial intelligence. I think this will be a way of ensuring that our students who have graduated in ICT have a place to go, so that we have a way of differentiating those who have studied and the quacks out there, and even have a way of getting those who are out there who may not be highly trained, but they have the talent, so that they can also be appreciated. Honorable Speaker, we'll also be able to get a good quality of service, and also ensure that these services are not too expensive. Everyone in this house today wants to be seen. What is it that you are doing? What is it that you have been able to do for the last 5 years, 10 years? It is not cheap. So it will also bring a form of regulation into payment for the service. Mr. Speaker, authenticity of information, I think I've focused on it, and I do not want to dwell on that again, but it will be useful that we know that when you click to your computer and you are investigating on a certain disease, the information that you get, at least for our country, to have some form of sieving, such that people are not just getting information that is not authentic. Honorable Speaker, I've also seen a lot of information on digital beauty. Honorable Speaker, beauty is highly connected to health, and in our country, especially in Nairobi, I think this is something that also needs to be authenticated, so that as people do a lot of business which is connected to ICT, beauty, and health, we get the right information. So, Honorable Speaker, I've seen the kind of amendments that have been proposed by the proposer of the bill, and I would like to thank him because he has focused on areas where we could have some pitfalls. So as I sit, Honorable Speaker, I would like to congratulate the Honorable Sosi and tell him that he has taken wonderful steps, especially on following his training and ensuring that it gets regulation through this August House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Well, the Honorable Nyamai, the Honorable Pukose, you had your bite at the cake, and you should let the Honorable Nyamai also contribute without interrupting her. You wanted to hear more about the beauty. The Honorable Milemba Omboko, member for Emuhaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and let me congratulate Honorable Sotsi for bringing up this information communication technology practitioners bill, which in essence tries to regulate and also put in focus and standardize this particular sector. Honorable Speaker, this is a sector that is both a time bomb and at the same time a revolution itself, and it's actually a whole world, because away from the earlier revolutions that we had and which have changed the world, whether you want to think of the old agrarian revolution that began in Britain or go to the industrial revolution, the ICT revolution is the greatest and is the momentous revolution that is actually going to change the world and put in place who is developed and who is not developed. It's a sector that is also that is not very well regulated, because the first attempt to regulate this sector, I think, may have come in 2006 when Kenya adopted the first ICT policy, and which later on has not been supported, up to now has not been supported with relevant laws to regulate the sector. And therefore is a vast area that requires a lot of regulation in order to up the quality, like many speakers have spoken on this, and even just accountability and efficiency of this particular sector. Honorable Speaker, let me indicate that regulating this sector will be very important, especially for the education sector, because, Honorable Speaker, ICT currently is playing a major role in the education sector, especially the CBC. And you often hear parents talk about having phones that are digital and so on and so forth. And therefore, it's very important that we regulate this sector so that we know the type of information that is actually reaching to the learners. And be it as it may, and with the COVID experience which we saw, few, and we're still grappling with it, it is now a sure bet that education sooner or later, like Professor Shiwani had to put it before he died, that was a professor and vice chancellor for Kenyatta University, that education is moving from the four walls and is now going to space. And when education goes to space, it will be the ICT technology and revolution that will be moving this education in space and not in the walls of the class. Therefore, this is a very good law for the education sector in terms of regulating any information that will be reaching to our students in our schools. Honorable Speaker, let me be quick to also indicate that what needs to be taken care of, without repeating what other members of Parliament have already spoken about, will be found in the amendments. Many of such regulations and laws that come to Parliament, and we have been dealing with a number of them for quite some time, has had a connotative intention of delimiting or reducing the playing ground of those who are within that particular sector. And I'm happy Honorable Soti seems to allude to this in one of his amendments, that, for instance, the composition of the council of the institute that will regulate this particular sector, that composition, Honorable Soti, and possibly, if we shall get time, I will put in more of the amendments so that this council is widened to include other players who will be serious stakeholders, like those in the education sector, and who will be concerned specifically with knowing the kind of information that is being used and how it can affect our young learners who are in schools. And therefore, I would support that amendment and still even widen it so that we have a greater range of people in that council and institute. Honorable Speaker, I would also wish to say that when it comes to the qualifications of those who will qualify to join this particular sector, like I said, some laws have been done in sectorial areas, and very many examples have been given by Honorable Soti, which is good, but they tend generally to create a duopolistic situation in those particular sectors, or sometimes even a monopolistic understanding, so that there are few players and they lock out many other people who qualify. So I would wish that the qualifications, the level of qualifications, Honorable Soti, we should look at it so that it does not block people who have been trained in this sector to completely be out of the sector, like we have seen in other professions. And it later on becomes a problem that that particular sector is controlled by a few players, and these few players are not allowing any other players to enter. Still on that point, Honorable Soti, I would wish that when we look at this law in Parliament generally, we actually allow space for innovation and invention, because this is a sector that is growing very fast and is still undergoing a lot of revolution. And if we lock it too early, then we shall not allow the young people who are actually testing out their skills and coming up with innovations. As we know, the likes of M-Pesa and the modern innovations that are related to ICT, we don't want to kill them because of this law. So when we come to the amendments, let's do them in such a way that it will encourage innovation, encourage invention, yet still control the sector for the holistic good of everyone in Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member for Emuhaya has spoken like the great teacher that he is. The Honorable Kirima Ngushine, Member for Central Imenti.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand here hereby to support the motion as it is, because at this current period of digital transition, whereby, as it was before, those people who used to be analog, or the way things used to be done, the way things have changed. And the motion has come at the right time, a timely time, when this country should really embrace the motion as it is, because our youth need to be supported in all aspects to make sure that they cope with the world as it is moving forward, to enable them also fit in the job market, to enable them reach various corners of the world, so that at least, Mr. Speaker, sir, we cannot be outdated in whatever it is taking place. I thereby support the motion, and it has come at the right time. That's all, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. The Honorable Mabonga Mwambu, member for Bumula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, I wish to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, I've had time to interact with the sponsor of this bill, Honorable Sosi, and I know the hard time he has gone through to come up with some of these proposals in this amendment. Professor, but not professor, but I hope you will be. That's how we regard him in the committee. He's a professional in this field, Mr. Speaker. And this is one area that has really been abused. You will all agree that ICT, information and technology, is one discipline that cuts across. And I remember this House, Mr. Speaker, we had the same similar problem in counselors and psychology profession. Until this House had to stamp its authority in an act of parliament, you realize that today, that profession, there is some sense of discipline. Mr. Speaker, today, if you go for any, probably if you have ever sat on a panel of interviews, you realize that every candidate comes in has a certificate or a diploma in ICT. With so many colleges, and some of them higher diplomas, colleges that are not even known anywhere. And this is the challenge we are having, that today, all of us, we are victims of all manner of abuses from this kind of display. So with the amendments that Honorable Sosi is proposing, we will restore some sense of discipline in this profession, right from the training. Because if people do not have a similar curriculum of training across board, anybody will call himself a professional, and you are likely to be mishandled in the hands of the quacks. And that is why this field is one of the most abused fields in the entire world. Mr. Speaker, you realize that this is a profession which is very key. Just the other day, a member has just spoken here that most of our children have been taking lessons online. But you realize if you're a parent and you sneak in and you see the kind of things that are going online, you'll be surprised. So with this kind of amendment, Mr. Speaker, we are going to have products that the customer are key to the customer. If it's the learner, if it's adult, we have a body that is regulating and people are going to be responsible. With this bill, Mr. Speaker, you realize that in these proposals, and Honorable Sosa, I want to believe that last time when we had a discussion, you've captured the so-called fifth generation amendments in this bill, whereby this is a new generation. It's a profession that is evolving every day. You capture information that is flexible enough that even if you set the common standard rules that are supposed to be applied in the profession, there is always room for the professional to grow because it's developing. Mr. Speaker, with this kind of amendment, is going to provide some kind of a seal of approval that people will be practicing outside there. They will be known who are they, where did they train, and the kind of information they are passing across to the entire generation. So this will be like a watchdog to a profession, and we will have professional standards set across so that people do not abuse this kind of profession. Mr. Speaker, this is a timely bill, and I want to congratulate Honorable Sosi. And he has promised, because I realize, Mr. Speaker, whenever we are sitting and discussing some of these things, even within the professions, there are those ones who don't want kind of these changes, and yet they are professionals in the same field. So they know what they're doing with the quacks outside there. And it's important that for us to move this country forward in an organized way, all professionals must have a set accepted standards across the board. So I want to congratulate Honorable Sosi for coming up with this kind of bill, and I support it, and I request that this House stamps its approval and brings sanity in the ICT sector. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Oval.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mimi naunga mkono na nampongeza Mheshimiwa Ososi. Nilikuwa nakimbia nipate details zaidi, lakini naunga mkono huu mswada. Pia tu nataka nichukue nafasi hii, tukiunga hizi sheria, tufikirie pia kuna sehemu bado Kenya nzima, sehemu zingine hata wifi hakuna paka sasa, na ni shule ziko hapa Kenya. Tukizungumzia mambo ya kufungua Kenya kwa dunia mzima, kwa vijana wetu, tufikirie hapa bado. Ni matarajio yangu hapa ndani iko kuangalia zile shule ambazo ziko Kenya paka sasa na bado watumia tarakilishi, lakini hawana network au hata wifi. Pia tuzingatie, nyinyi professional ambao mko kwenye ICT na kamati ichukue nafasi pia kuzingatia hayo, manake hao wengine wanapelekwa mbele zaidi na gap itakuwa kubwa zaidi kuacha wengine nyuma. Asante Bwana Speaker.
That being the last member interested in speaking to it, I now call upon the Honorable Sotsi to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I start by thanking all the members who have contributed to this bill, and also the ICT committee for their valuable input in terms of engaging the stakeholders and also coming up with an amendment which are going to enhance this bill. Mr. Speaker, I say this bill is very historic. When I joined this parliament, I said that this is one of the things I want to achieve. Having participated in this sector for 20 years, I have seen the challenges of the sector, and I visioned myself to ensure that we are going to have this law in place. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that we are just a few steps to realizing this dream. But, Mr. Speaker, alluding to what members have said, you know, nearly every aspect of life is now ICT driven, be it health, be it education, be it economy, be it finance, even elections, Mr. Speaker. We are going to face election in the next few months, and you know that we have had challenges around the issue of results transmission and basically the application of ICT in election. And many, many aspects of life, including even life support systems, they are now driven by ICT. But one question we should be asking ourselves, all these ICT drivers, who are the people driving them? They are professionals driving them. It is very risky that all these professionals are driving this ICT sector without any legal and ethical framework. This bill has dealt with that problem. Mr. Speaker, this House has also passed a number of digital legislation, which, as I speak to you now, Mr. Speaker, remain largely unimplemented. For example, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. I know some aspects of it are challenged in court, but there are other aspects
which are not challenged in court, but are not implemented. The reason why they are not implemented is because the profession itself is not regulated. We have, for example, the recent law we passed, the Data Protection Act, which basically manages the data that we have. It remains largely unimplemented because the practice itself is not implemented. So this bill, Mr. Speaker, is going to provide the legal framework under which we train the people who operate ICT systems, how they will be registered, how they will be accredited, how they will be licensed, and how the practice is going to be regulated in terms of setting the ethical standards. So basically what we are trying to say, the same approaches we have done for the legal profession, the medical profession, we are going to do the same to the ICT profession. There were a number of concerns that were raised, which the committee addressed. The first concern was that this is going to lock out so many people in the sector. Mr. Speaker, I want to report that with the assistance of the committee, we have amendments that are going to address that issue. For example, we have youth who have no formal education, or maybe they have gone up to Form 4, but they come up with an innovation. This bill recognizes that those youth will have to be registered as practitioners, even without any degree, diploma, or any qualification. Mr. Speaker, we are working towards having a digital economy. There is already a digital economy blueprint 2019. This digital economic blueprint recognizes digital skills and values as a pillar. Mr. Speaker, this bill is going to help us have a digital economy, and it is projected that if this country goes digital, fully digital, then even our GDP is going to go up, and we'll be able to generate enough revenue to do other things like construct roads and provide infrastructure. This bill is also going to help us reduce the cost of IT services. Mr. Speaker, the cost of IT services in this country is very high. And it's very high largely because of lack of control and on how ICT services are being priced. This will help us reduce the services further and enjoy the benefits of digitalization. Mr. Speaker, some people have questioned why introduce a law when we can do self-regulation. Mr. Speaker, self-regulation in this country has failed because everyone wants to do his bit and there is no control. So this bill will bring harmony, will bring structure, will remove disorder, and will actually make this country a center of innovation, not just in Africa, but across the world. There was also the issue of barriers of entry to ICT practitioners. That has been addressed through amendments that even our youth who have no higher qualification but are innovative will be able to be integrated as practitioners. And that in itself is going to ensure that whatever innovation our youth come up with, it is not stolen. Mr. Speaker, we have many cases of intellectual property theft by multinationals in this country. Our youth come up with solutions, and those solutions are taken away, and they don't benefit, and the country does not benefit. Mr. Speaker, there was also the issue of whether to create an environment for voluntary registration as a member of the ICT practitioner. The committee has amendment to that effect, that we are not going to make it mandatory. We are going to open it up so that members can decide whether they want to join or not. There was also the issue of jurisdiction of foreign ICT firms. and this is a problem in this country. Most of the big contracts in this country are undertaken by professionals from outside Kenya. And that means all the money that should be retained here is taken away to China, to other countries. We are not limiting the participation of foreign firms in this country, but they need to be recognized that they are here operating, so that we don't lose out on tax as a country. We are losing out on tax as a country because of offshore IT services, operating offshore, making money from Kenyans and not remitting any tax. And this issue will be able to be addressed, but not necessarily limiting the participation of these companies in our economy. So, Mr. Speaker, I am very grateful to the members, and I think this bill, if it becomes law, and I'm confident it's going to become law, it is going to revolutionize our digital systems in this country. It is going to remove the chaos that have been there in the ICT sector. It is going to ensure that we have uniform training at all levels, at certificate, at diploma, at degree, and that we are going to have immense benefit from the ICT sector. Mr. Speaker, my heart bleeds when I hear that we lose up to 21 billion shillings every year, our banks, as a result of cybercrime. And no one is taken to court. Or when they go to court, the case is lost because there is no legal framework to manage this thing, the conduct of ICT people. We have a petition that was brought to the committee by a computer forensic expert who says when they go to court, they are not able to effectively defend their evidence because they are not accredited by anyone. They are not registered by anyone. Now, Mr. Speaker, those companies that have lost a lot of money or they are continuing to lose a lot of money as a result of cybercrime, they now are going to have somewhere to go to get justice by ensuring that people who are behind computer systems are also operating under some serious ethical framework. So, Mr. Speaker, this bill, I ask the members to support this bill at the Committee of the Whole House, where we are going to come up with amendments proposed by the committee, and amendments that are going to enrich this bill. And I hope that once passed by this House, the President will approve it, and now the ICT professionals will benefit from their sweat, and also the country will benefit from the ICT investment. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Well, Honorable Sothi, that is done and polished. But the final rights to move it to the next stage will have to be undertaken when the business will be listed down again so that it can move to the next stage. I direct that we move on to the next order on the order paper.
Order number 9, the Insurance Professionals Registration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 25 of 2020. Second reading.
The Honorable Benjamin Washiali, this is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with your permission, before I move this bill, I wanted to, as a ranking member, a member who has been around for quite some time, I wanted to advise, and I've seen a number of bills that are queuing from members. I wanted to advise that if these bills have to be reached, members have to be present so that they provide the necessary quorum for the bills ahead of them to be discussed so that then their bills can be reached. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, you realize that this bill, I should have moved it last week. But because of a problem, and especially arising from the season. That's why we had to lose a whole week, and I wouldn't wish that members suffer the same fate. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the insurance professionals registration bill.
The Honorable Washiali, you are quite on point.
Yes.
I would just like to, and you have been a chief whip in this house,
yeah,
and you know what you're talking about. I just wish and hope that members would find time to come and do that which is important to this country, to contribute in this house, as you have urged them to do. It is important for us to do this job well. Proceed, Honorable Ashel.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Insurance Professionals Bill, Professionals Registration Bill, Bill number 25 of 2020, be read a second time. Honorable Speaker, the principal object of the Insurance Professionals Registration Bill is to provide a legislative framework for the regulations of professionals in the insurance sector to enhance the standards of service in the sector, promote professionalism, and address concerns regarding professional misconduct in the insurance industry as it is in the other professionals. The enactment of the bill will eliminate circumstances like where insurance companies engage in the services of unqualified professionals, in other words, quacks, who do not honor claims that arise from losses incurred by insured persons. A case in point is the delay to pay the victims of the Londiani for Tenan bus accident, which was headed for Kakamega, where all the 50-plus passengers perished in the early morning accident on 10th October 2018. And Honorable Speaker, I would just want to inform the House that in that bus, my sister-in-law perished, and the husband, who is actually my cousin, has been moving all over, coming to Kericho, because the case was taken to Kericho, was being handled under the police station of Kericho, and he really went through a lot of trauma, having lost the wife, and of course, the insurance also not being available. Such cases can be avoided if the insurance sector is governed by a well-structured legislation that provides for qualification and discipline of insurance practitioners. Clause 3 of the bill makes provision for the establishment of the Insurance Institute of Kenya and the Insurance Professional Examinations Board to provide for examinations, registration, and regulation of standards and practice of insurance professionals. Mr. Speaker, sir, the establishment of the Insurance Institute of Kenya as the overall professional organ for insurance professionals is, as in the case of other professional bodies, such as for the accountants, they have the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, ISPAC. For the public secretaries, they have the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries, ICPS. For the human resources managers, they have the Institute of Human Resource Management, the IHRM. For the lawyers like yourself, Honorable Speaker, you have the Council for Legal Education. Therefore, the institute
shall regulate professionals, the professional conduct, and maintain levels of standards of services rendered by the insurance professionals registered under this bill. The bill will help promote the recognition of insurance professionals not only in Kenya but also in other jurisdictions. Globally, the insurance professionals are regulated and governed by institutes established pursuant to specific legislation in specific countries. For example, in the United Kingdom, we have Chartered Insurance Institute, that is in the UK. In India, we have the Insurance Institute of India. Canada have the Insurance Institute of Canada. Australia and New Zealand have the Institute of Insurance and Finance. Back in Africa, in Ghana, we have Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana. And all these institutes award certificates to qualifiers. Mr. Speaker, sir, Clause 13 of the bill further provides for the establishment of a registration committee, which shall be a committee of the insurance there will be increased confidence on the part of the public towards the insurance service providers. Mr. Speaker, sir, acknowledgeable team of professionals coupled with the improved standards will be paramount in eliminating the perceived credibility crisis in the industry in the eyes of the public, particularly with regard to settlement of claims. It's important to note that provisions in the bill will form the basis for enhanced insurance penetration in the country and will fortify legislative changes in the industry that include professional discipline, guidelines for insurance investment policy, and institutionalize cross-border best practices. The Insurance Professionals Registration Bill details provisions that are geared towards improving the insurance sector ecosystem. These changes include establishment of the examination board that will aid in raising the insurance penetration levels, which has remained low globally, averages acknowledging that at 3%, Kenya has the lowest insurance penetration rate in sub-Saharan Africa, with South Africa leading at 17%. This is due to most of the Kenyan population perceiving insurance as nice to have, easy to discard product rather than one that is essential. The bill is an improvement from the current arrangement where the Insurance Institute of Kenya and the College of Insurance are established pursuant to the incorporation of the Insurance Training and Education Trust. Under the Perpetual Trustees Act, Cap 64 of the laws of Kenya, whose trustees are drawn from the insurance industry, the government, and stakeholders. Clause 5 of the bill sets out the functions of the institute as being responsible for the registration of insurance professionals and serve as the umbrella body for insurance professionals, issuing of practicing certificates to insurance practitioners under each category, as well as insurance fellows and corporate membership. The College of Insurance, on the other hand, will provide professional and technical training to employees and other people serving in the insurance industry. Part 7 of the bill provides for the disciplinary process for any professional misconduct. This will be undertaken by a disciplinary committee established under Clause 32. The bill delegates legislative powers but does not limit any fundamental rights and freedoms. The delegated power is on the development of guidelines and regulations by the Cabinet Secretary responsible for matters relating to insurance in consultation with the stakeholders for the better carrying out of the provisions of the Act. The bill does not concern county governments in terms of Article 110, sub-Article 1A of the Constitution, as it doesn't affect the functions and powers of county governments set out in the 4th schedule. Monetary policy, including insurance, is a function of the national government under paragraph 10 of part 1 of the 4th schedule of the Constitution. However, the bill is a money bill within the provisions of Article 114 of the Constitution, as its enactment may occasion additional expenditure of public funds to be provided through the annual estimates, which is necessary. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me just remind members that this bill seeks to provide for the establishment of a legislative framework for the regulations of professionals in the insurance sector to enhance the standards of service in the sector, promote professionalism, and address concerns regarding professional misconduct in the insurance sector. The Insurance Institute of Kenya, established in Part 2 of the bill, shall seek to discharge its functions listed in Clause 5 of the bill as follows. A, establish, monitor, and promote standards of professional competence and practice amongst insurance professionals. B, register persons who meet the required professional and ethical standards. C, promote research into the areas of insurance practice and related matters, and also benchmark from other parts of the world. Publish books, periodicals, journals, and articles on insurance practice and related matters. Advise the examinations board on matters relating to examination standards and policies, and coordinate and oversee continuous professional of insurance professionals, among others. Madam Speaker, the bill will provide policy, coordination, and oversight framework for professionals in the insurance sector, including those whose qualifications are from foreign institutions. This will further enhance the equalization of such certifications. In foregoing, the independent insurance professional examination body will help in ensuring that there is inclusivity of insurance professionals who start examinations in different jurisdictions. Madam Speaker, as provided in Part 5 of the bill, the Insurance Professionals Examination Board will be charged with the responsibility of ascertaining the competency of pre-qualified professionals and ensure effective, continuous professional development of professionals in order to position the practitioners strategically to deal with practical dynamics in the insurance industry. The examination board will be responsible for preparing syllabuses for insurance professionals examination, make rules with respect to examinations, issue certificates to candidates who have satisfied examination requirements, and promote recognition of its examination locally and internationally. The Insurance Professionals Legislation Bill 2020 is a progressive legislation which, once enacted, will enable the country to have paradigm shift in the conduct and management of the insurance sector. It will spur insurance penetration as well as increase efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, and accountability in insurance business and investment, hence enhance job creation. Finally, having familiarized myself with the committee report on the bill, I wish to note that the recommendation that the House approve the bill with amendments as proposed in the schedule contained in the report to be negated, as there exists new information from stakeholders as related to the establishment of Insurance Professionals Examination Board in Part 5. Madam Speaker, based on this new knowledge and discussions from the stakeholders' engagement, I wish to reiterate that Part 5 of the bill relating to the Insurance Professionals Examination Board be part of the bill. Noting that there were follow-up meetings between the industry players led by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA, the team acknowledged the desire to establish an examination board for insurance professionals as contained in the bill. The outcome of the mediation by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, shared with the committee through a letter to the chairperson, Honorable Gladys Wanga, dated 8th November 2021, agreed as follows: that the professional pre-qualification training and examination be administered by institutions recognized by the Commission of University Education, or also the Technical and Vocational Education Training Authority. Also independently develop syllabuses examining and issuing certificates to successful candidates. B, that the proposed examinations board and such examination bodies as may be approved or recognized by the board shall wholly and solely be responsible for administering examinations relating to qualifications for practice as insurance professionals. C, that professionals pre-qualification shall be a mandatory requirement for registration as a candidate for insurance professional examination. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Madam Speaker, as representatives of the people, the insurance sector is a sector that has not penetrated, just like I had a summarized presentation. And the reason is that we have only had College of Insurance training professionals in the sector. But with the approval of this bill, Madam Speaker, we are going to allow even the TTIs that are currently around the country, just like we have been having accountants right from the lower level to the upper level. We will have the insurance professionals also being, syllabus being introduced in these TTIs, and we shall have a lot of other insurance professionals in the countryside. Madam Speaker, I wish to move and request Dr. Bukose, MP for Endebess, to second. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Bukose.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to second this very important bill by the Honorable member for Mumias East, the Honorable Washiali. This is a very important bill, Madam Speaker, in that we look at the insurance sector for a long time. It is been seen as a nuisance. It has been seen as unregulated. It has been seen as not responsive to the needs of the Kenyans. When you talk of a penetration of absorption of about 3%, and compared with South Africa, which has about 17%, then it tells you that there's something very wrong. For a long time, insurance companies, even in this country, have been started, and after a short time you hear they've collapsed. They have collapsed with people's money, that insurance company, and therefore you find that with the time, people are kind of skeptical about taking insurance. That's why when Honorable Ashali said people don't look at it as a necessity. They don't look at it as something that you must be able to have it. They look at it as something you can take and easily dispose. So this bill coming in to regulate the practice, registration, training of insurance practitioners, I think is timely and is very important. And we can borrow the leaf from the various countries. You've heard of the Chartered Insurance Institute of UK. You've heard of the Insurance Institute of Canada. You've heard of Insurance Institute of India. This is not something that is new. It is practiced worldwide, in the Commonwealth. And when today my neighbor, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, said he's an economist, you know, my neighbor, I hadn't known you are an economist. I was learning it today. I was always thinking, maybe you are a historian or an insurance guy. We want this issue of insurance also for people to feel proud that we have professionals in insurance, and we can encourage our young people to be able to take courses in insurance, because this bill, once passed, you have an examination body, you have a way for you to be recognized by the board, by the Kenya Insurance, because it's establishing the Insurance Institute of Kenya. Therefore, which means it is able to give recognition to the various training institutions like the TTIs, so that they can be able to train insurance persons. And therefore, you have a profession that can be regulated. You have a profession that is responsive to the needs of Kenyans. And with that kind of education, then you'll find that people will now start thinking of taking insurance. Because more often, you walk around and you meet somebody tells you, oh, I'm from the insurance. I want to give you a policy, maybe life policy, health policy, education policy, all those kinds of policies. You find that more often you really don't have time to listen to this. But once we professionalize it, we make it we have a body that can be able to regulate these individuals. Because in the past, what we've seen, somebody finishes school and the next day is selling the policy without necessarily going through a training, a formal training, without necessarily having a body that can regulate. So I think, to me, this bill by the Honorable Ashiali needs all our support. And in areas where we've had a memorandum from the practitioners, I think we should be able to listen. And I'll urge the committee led by the Honorable Wanga to be sensitive to matters, especially on the issue that has been raised by Honorable Washiali, that we must be able to take cognizance of the practitioners' sentiments. Because when you talk of public participation, it means they are the ones who are practicing, they are the ones who understand, and they are the ones who would want that board that will be able to offer examinations and training and recognition in such a way that it is able to protect the institute, it's able to protect the practice, and it's able to give Kenyans confidence so that we can have absorption or penetration of insurance, whichever insurance it is, to more than 3%, because at 3%, we are doing very bad. With those few remarks, I want to second.
Order, members. Order. Honorable members, I propose the question, which is that the Insurance Professionals Registration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 25 of 2020, be now read a second time. Let's start with the member for Kangundo, Honorable Muli.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on this bill. First, I'd like to congratulate Honorable Benjamin Washiale for coming with the bill to regulate the professional practitioners of insurance. Madam Honorable Speaker, this industry for insurance has had a setback in terms of regulation. The operation is very much unethical. Not only looking at practitioners, we should look at the insurance itself, and we must revisit on insurance companies, because the country is going to have economical fall down in terms of the promises which the people are expecting from this insurance. The principles which they use in terms of giving the cover, the principle in which they undergo the claims, the principle in which they do their underwriting is very, very, very unknown and very, very poor. For you to get your cover, you have to have hard time. Madam Speaker, the people who are called practitioners in this industry, they are anybody. They are called sales insurance agencies, the sales financial executive advisors, they call themselves. Anybody from any minute can become an insurance sales agent. Even me, as I can speak, I can call an insurance company, will give me a right to become their sales agent. I have no training. I'll come to you and sell you any policy, and within 1 hour, I'll bring your policy. So this is the kind of people we are speaking about, the practitioners. They lack what is called the utmost good faith in terms of carrying their duties. You get any promise when you are procuring the cover, but when you see the policy document, what you get there is opposite of what you have been told. You try to approach that insurance company, you never get attention. You'll be told you have to go the application to withdraw the cover which you paid, and you'll be told you can only get the money after 3 years. You can get withdrawal value after 3 years. If you insure your car without not following the proper procedure from these sales agents, you are going to face the same problem. If today we go to what we call insurance violation to treat all their promises, the promise which you get, especially when insuring your car, you be told that you pay 4%, you'll be paid your car. In case of write-off, you get the full payment. In case of an accident, they will repair your car. The time you get your accident, they tell you your car needs to be repaired off market. And these words used by insurance is the high time that this practitioner need to be registered to understand that we don't want to have ambiguous word to con our Kenyans. Today your car gets accident, you are told you need to go to off market to get the spare parts of your car. Now I wonder in this country, when you are told to go to buy the lights of your car, off market is called River Road, or I don't know which place. So it means that the insurance company in this country, they are promoting stealing. Our mirror being stored in the Lord. When your car lost mirror, you are be told to go get in off market. Where do these mirrors come from? They are the ones stored from the people who own the cars. Again, if today your car gets accident, they tell you you have to contribute 50%. You get it, the section of the policy document is not there. So it is the high time we legislate insurance companies, and it's the high time we need to register insurance practitioners. The major lies carried in this industry is going to make our economic fall down. So, Honorable Madam Speaker, I speak here in cry of million Kenyans. Today you go get insurance cover, you get a promise if you get an accident, your car will never get, because 100% of the motor vehicles in the Kenyan road, they are insured. So you are sure that if you get an accident, 100% you get your car back with the same value. Your car gets hacked, which variable, you are going to be repaired. I tell you, Madam Speaker, in this country, there are too many cases for insurance companies because of lies. There are too many cars rising in garages, insurance companies, they don't want to pay. And in future, this house need to revisit. Insurance companies, they need to get insurance yearly. If you are not paying your claim, you should not get your license again. The insurance practitioners, after you get registered, you must get your license yearly. If the claims you cover are not settled, you cannot get renewed. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Madam Speaker, thank you very much, and I support this bill. Thank you.
The Honorable Mizigi Mnene.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this bill. And I want to begin by congratulating Honorable Washiali for this well-thought bill on matters insurance. And from the onset, I want to begin by supporting this bill because insurance sector has been seen for the longest time as a sector that has not been regulated. And Madam Speaker, many people have lost confidence on matters insurance because of the many challenges that have faced many people on insurance issues. I have so many cases I cannot even begin to narrate here of people who have called me or talking and complaining on how they have been conned on matters insurance.
Chair, Madam Speaker, I stand to support this very important bill and commend my colleague Mheshimiwa Washiali for his consistency. I've been on the Finance Committee and I've seen the number of times that he has come, and we have discussed this in many, many occasions, in many various variations. And Madam Chair, I can tell you one thing. We've been under a lot of pressure from the so-called big boys in the insurance agency, in the insurance companies, that you don't need this. You know, there's been a monopoly in insurance, and the big boys, including some of the banks and insurance companies, have actually been fighting this. You know, the number of insurance brokers we have in this country, that is the real essence of work. You know, allowing them to be able to go and sell insurances as brokers, they must be certified. And this insurance professional registration bill will give them the opportunity of registering themselves and passing the courses locally so that they can have a certificate to practice the insurance trade that they want. Hitherto, brokers have been misused by insurance companies. There have also been quacks. There have also been what we call indisciplined brokers. There has been a lot of dishonesty in insurance. So now with the bill, if you have not got a certificate of practicing certificate, you will be charged 50,000 shillings or 6 months imprisonment. This also covers employees in the insurance company, employees in the brokerage. It covers most of those who are involved in the process of giving or taking insurance to the people. I think once we have done this, once we've been able to professionalize and have some discipline in the issue of brokers and how they relate to the insurance company, the underwriters, and how they relate to their customers, it will be something that we would have done, and we would be able to take this to the next stage. I think what the main thing we are trying to do here is to make sure that those brokers are professional. Madam Chair, I don't like to go in the politics of this thing, but let me tell you one thing. There are nearly 30,000 brokers in Kenya alone, and that is just those that we know about. There are very, many more who want to practice and want to be able to do this. We must also, at the same time, now cut back and curtail the monopolies of the banks, the monopolies of the insurance companies who insist that only policies must be done from here and there. At this moment in time, Kenya is one of the very few countries in this world. We can take an insurance online and pay for it, but we don't really know what is the policy document that you are lying. But these are the sort of things we must work on, and I'm very pleased that we have taken this one step. And I want to, as Honorable Washali knows, he has been criticized, and there have been a lot of objections and a lot of hurdles put in the way of to ensure that these brokers and other members do not get the ability to practice in their own right. It is a good process, and if there is anything that we can call as taking it back to the grassroots, this is one of the main bills that will take business back to the grassroots and professionalize it. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support wholeheartedly.
Member for Tharaka.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this very important bill by the Honorable Washali, the Chief Whip Emeritus, and he still remains our Chief Whip. Anyway, we, the Kenya Kwanza establishment in the country, this is a very timely bill that seeks to bring insurance professionals under one roof. This is the roof that is going to ensure that these professionals, like most of the professionals in the country, are well regulated and that they are able to render their professional services professionally. There has been a hue and cry that the insurance industry in the country is haphazard. And this is going to be the Kenya Institute of Supply Management, and many others. These are all professionals in the country who have left behind the insurers to do their business in a manner that is actually not regulated. I have gone over this bill, and I am satisfied that it is a bill that qualifies to be passed by this House. And I would urge the honorable members, we all support Honorable Washali, so that we pass the bill and give the insurance industry their own bail, just like the other professionals. When you look at part 4 of the bail, we are registering professionals. And this is exactly what happens to all professional institutions. Advocates, and I'm an advocate as I speak, go through what is known as the Council for Legal Education, after which they are called to the bar, and they are registered as advocates of the High Court of Kenya by the High Court. The High Court has the mandate to do this under the law, the Advocates Act, and the Council for Legal Education Act. In this particular instance, we are bringing to fore an act of parliament that will regulate the registration of insurance professionals through the committee being set up. Part 5 is quite important in that it now provides for professional examinations. We know very well that in the universities, these insurance professionals are trained, they are examined, and they get their degrees. But unfortunately, this is not sufficient. Because if it was sufficient, even the advocates would become advocates right from the university. However, they still have to undergo professional training through the Council for Legal Education. Let us have these insurance professionals also having their own professional training so that they are able to specialize and qualify in those particular areas that are suitable for insurance industry. These examinations or these examiners will also deal with continuing professional education. Again, a very important aspect, that it is always not too late to learn. It is always important to put new impetus of learning into every professional from time to time. The institutions I have named here, the BORACs, the Law Society of Kenya, the Human Resource Institute Management, the KISIM, and the others, all of them have a system of continuing professional education so that these professionals are trained from time to time. We then have the provision for practice certificates, and this is how professions are controlled, such that for you to get that practice certificate, you have to demonstrate to your own professional body that you qualify to practice in that area. We know very well that for the other professionals, they have these bodies. We know very well that in insurance industry, we even have characters who practice in insurance called ambulance chasers. I don't know what element of the profession that is, but they are notorious. They are unqualified brokers. They are people who just go out there, get whatever piece of work is available, looks like it's under an insurance company, and you find them in cahoots with the possibly unscrupulous advocates trying to make cases out of this. I know the Law Society does put very many restrictions on such advocates practicing this way, but the insurance industry does not have a way of controlling these unqualified persons. It also has no way of controlling brokers, as a result of which we have this mushrooming of all manner of businesses into the market to the disadvantage of those who are qualified and would want to practice honestly. There are these provisions here regarding qualifications and disqualifications, registration and cancellation of certificates where you misconduct yourself. And part 7 deals with discipline. Everybody believes the insurance industry, just like the matatu industry, is totally indisciplined. It has no control. It has no way of regulating itself. It is just out there so that you get exactly what you get. You go to a cheap insurance company, you get cheap insurance services. You go to a professional insurance company, you get professional services from that company. Same is going to be with the registered persons, such that if you are indisciplined, there is a due process to be followed when you are being disciplined. You are going to be heard, and after hearing, you are going to be given whatever is your judgment. And we have an appeals process, which is very important, because there may be errors in what these boards are doing, and an appeal board is actually going to hear you and give you your what you deserve in terms of justice. And finally, we have the rules which have to be promulgated under this act, and this is also very important, which rules will actually be delegated legislation, and that is going to come to this house so that we are able to look at those regulations also in totality. Therefore, in summary, this is a very important bill. Let us discuss it soberly in this house, and let us pass it so that insurance professionals can also join other professionals in the country in the way they render their services. I therefore support.
Member for Kathiani, Honorable Mbui.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also contribute to this very, very important motion. First, I'd like to thank the Honorable Ashiali for this very great piece of legislation that he has brought to this House. That basically means that he's carrying out his responsibility as a legislator in the best possible way. And I wish him all the best, because we are going into an election, and I'm certain that there might be some things he's interested in, even if it is handing over the seat. Madam Speaker, this bill is dealing with the insurance professionals registration. And Madam Speaker, you cannot really, I don't know how to even explain how important insurance is to the world. Because other than property, we also insure health. And Madam Speaker, a lot of times people are bankrupted by situations that occur in their lives that were unprecedented and unexpected. And that is why insurance has been put in place, so that if anything does happen, then you remain at the same level that you were before. Now, for example, people have properties and properties burn down. If you're insured, that property is paid back in full, so you lose nothing. If, God forbid, one is involved in a major accident where they require a high cost for them to be brought back to normal, and because I know there's medical care is extremely expensive, then also insurance caters for that and makes payment of these bills. So it's really a very, very important thing that all of us need to ensure that we get involved. And obviously, then it cannot be left unregulated. In my studies, I remember coming across principles of insurance. And one of the principles of insurance is indemnity, which means that you must be, within the issue of insurance, when you make payment of your premiums, then whenever something goes wrong, you do not gain, but you also do not lose. But I listened the other day to some Ghanaian preacher who was talking about what ails their country. And he kind of generalized it and even talked about Africa. And he said we have a major problem of integrity. Madam Speaker, he said that one of the biggest problems that employers face all over the world is that you employ people and they steal from you. And he lamented for like 7-10 minutes in his church about the issue of integrity. And so the issue of insurance has also been infiltrated by the same problem. There are people who want to be insured and they give false information because they want to benefit. There are also practitioners, Madam Speaker, who also do not want to make payments and they have been receiving money. So this is an industry that we need to ensure that we can sort it out, because customers want to cheat, the practitioners want to steal. So there's a lot of problems, and therefore, obviously, it has come in at the right time that we ensure that we put some order in this industry. Kenyans have suffered, Madam Speaker, for years, because I remember there are quite a number of insurance companies that have gone down, and they've gone down with Kenyans' money. Many insurance companies, people have accidents, they go and change the names of their vehicles because they want to take them back on the road. But, Madam Speaker, there's a lot of people who have lost a lot out of fraudulent insurance situations. There are people who are involved in accidents and they cannot be paid. I remember at one time, after insuring a vehicle of mine for almost 7-8 years on comprehensive insurance. He got into a small accident that would have cost some, maybe just a small amount of money. But the insurance company stayed with it for about 3 months. So it cost me 3 months of lost business because I was using that vehicle for other purposes. So for all that 3 months, that vehicle was not being used. So you lose quite a lot because of that. And eventually when it came back, it hadn't even been done much. And I looked at the cost of what I had lost within the period, and it didn't really make sense. In fact, I asked myself, what is the purpose of having been paying comprehensive insurance? Because even the amount you'd pay premium for 1 year would have actually done the repairs. So this is an industry where people have suffered, and I think the Honorable Ashiali has come up with a way of ensuring that going forward we can instill professionalism so that these problems can be a thing of the past. Madam Speaker, some of, the government, first and foremost, has made insurance a must in some sectors. It is a must to have insurance for a vehicle when it goes on the road. Even our boda young men are crying because they're saying it's expensive. It is a must to have insurance. It is a must to have at least third-party insurance. It is a must for employers to ensure that they have workman's compensation for their staff. Now, because the government has even played a role in making sure that this is something that many people must do, then we also as a house must then put regulations in place to ensure that the practitioners do not take advantage of this situation where many people by law are forced to participate in having insurance. Madam Speaker, this sector must be controlled, and I'm happy because I've looked at what the Honorable Ashiali is proposing. He's proposing that we establish the Insurance Institute of Kenya and the Insurance Professionals Examinations Board. But really, most importantly, is the functions that I have seen that he has put there. One of them for the Insurance Institute of Kenya is to establish, monitor, and promote standards. We cannot operate without standards. We cannot operate without monitoring. And that is what he's insisting on, that there must be some way of monitoring the standards that are being applied out there in this industry. So that is one of the functions. The other one is, of course, to register practitioners. People cannot just come from the streets and purport to be insurance professionals, brokers, without going through some kind of training and without understanding the systems. So I think it's really, really important. And of course, finally, he proposes that they promote research, which means they do benchmarking. Look at the best practices all over the world and see what we can pick and apply in this country. So I think this is an excellent, this is a very excellent piece of legislation. I think it will go a long way in ensuring that this country's insurance sector is regulated, and then people will not be fearful or scared of investing money, even for those insurance packages that are not a must by law. When I was in school, I remember the only thing I knew about education of insurance was some course called actuarial science. And I remember we were told it's a very hard course. In fact, people would attempt and drop out and prefer to even go and do medicine. But now, I think with the Institute of Professional Insurance Studies, I think we will be able now to have all those courses that are aligned to this industry trained, and then we'll be able to have better practitioners coming out of that. And finally, of course, if other sectors are regulated, if other professionals have professional bodies, why not the insurance sector? With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support.
Honourable Member for Bahati, Kimani.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support the bill. This bill is very important, and also at the same time, I want to support Honorable Ashiali because Ashiali, you will be remembered for what you have given Kenyans when we are ending our term. This is very important. I've been called when my people heard this bill because they are watching. And they have told me Ashiali must be supported. This bill is very important. Madam Speaker, I want to bring to attention that the people who have accident and people who have died, it have raised now up to about per year 4,000. And if you go deeper on that, a big number are suffering to be paid by insurance. And because the insurance has now this body we are trying to create like lawyers, you'll be able to see if a husband have died and have left the wife and the children, those children suffer a lot because the women cannot reach the insurance. And if they try to reach the insurance, they must engage the lawyer. And when the lawyer goes in the court, and I'm sorry to say that, they start calling themselves my learned friend, my learned friend, my learned friend. Then you come to get that woman cannot reach her rights or to be paid because of the word learning. And if you go, like now in Nakuru, I don't want to go deeper, but I'm somebody to talk about the truth. I have seen some lawyers becoming very rich because of calling themselves my learned friend. Let's keep this case next year. Let's keep this case next month. And the person who is following the insurance, he will follow until maybe also you die. I have seen many lawyers who have become very rich with the big houses in Nakuru, Nairobi, everywhere. And they have got this money through the death of the people who have died through the insurance. Let me remind the House, you remember the accident which was here in Thika Road of the officers of the prison. That money was paid a lawyer, and when he went to the court, he was just paid 800,000. He was fined 800,000, fine. And from there, the family suffered. They could not get anything. So, when sharing the bill which you brought, we are going to support it, all of us, because it's a very important bill. People are suffering. Today, Madam Speaker, if you go in the general hospitals, in the wards, where there's accident because of border, you get people suffering, and when they try to claim the insurance, they cannot be able to get the money. It is a problem. Second, you get some insurance, if your car have got an accident, or your house has been burned, and you are insured, first thing they tell you, there's a certain money to pay first. You pay first, so they can consider, and they can go through how also to pay you. So you come to see, you ask yourself, was this insurance important for me? And you see, for the lawyers, if there's a problem, people goes to the body of the lawyers, and somebody can be punished, and it can be actually, business is the license. This is what we want, and this is what Washiali is following, and we support you 100%. In fact, this is a bill which has come when it is too late, Washiali. And I want to promise you, God is with you. He has brought you something good, which you can give Kenyans when you are heading in this term. Madam Speaker, it is very important. I like to support it, and it's very important, and it's going to help Kenyans. May God bless you.
Member for Likuyani.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also stand in solidarity with my colleagues in supporting this bill by my countryman. Madam Speaker, just like any other profession, I'm a medical doctor. We have our own association. We have our own way of how discipline is meted out. I agree. And like other professionals, we need to have some form of regulation, some form of regulation in terms of education, in terms of professional education, in terms of practice, in terms of discipline if you have gone haywire. So I agree, and I want to support wholeheartedly this. There are certain areas I know as we go to the amendments, we'll probably have to put their caveats as to how much or how far or the level of discipline that some of these insurance companies and professions are doing. Because just like my colleagues have said, very many people in this country have suffered at the hands of insurance. Very many people have died following rebates and whatever. So I think we'll need to, as we go to the committee of the whole House and accept amendments, we see how we can be able to, so that if the case is severe, then the punishment needs to be equally as severe. And if the case is a case where, let's say, a widow or somebody has been really affected, that they can be compensated adequately, Madam Speaker. I would like to especially talk about and commend Mheshimiwa Shali for this aspect of discipline, because insurance companies and insurance professionals have acted as if they are laws in their own. They don't have parameters within which to operate. So I agree, and I've gone through some of the aspects of discipline that is supposed to be meted out, except for one or two areas where we'll need to make it a little stronger. In general, I agree, and that is the way to go. With those remarks, Madam Speaker, I wish to support.
Member for Gatanga.
This is short. This is a bit short, Madam Speaker. Can I move to the next?
Yes, you may. Use the next one. What happened to that one?
This is for short people, I think. And I'm a bit tall. It's for short people like Honorable Kemari. Honorable Madam Speaker, from the onset, I want to congratulate Honorable Washiali for coming up with this bill. And Honorable Washiali, what you have done during this time when you are about to go home is a great job. I remember we had a discussion with you and you told me that you are not interested in coming back to Parliament, but I want to urge you, with this kind of contribution, we need people like you to be in this Parliament. I know you gave me the reasons, but having thought of those reasons, they are not valid. And I want to urge you. I want to urge you and plead with you, you come back. You support also, eh? So please come back. We have not seen this kind of contribution. Honorable Speaker, I've looked at the memorandum and objectives and reasons for this bill. And they are really great. And I've seen one of them is to promote professionalism and address concerns regarding professional misconduct in the insurance industry, which has been happening for a long time. I know most of us here have interacted with insurance salesmen who are not trained. And I think that is why most Kenyans, when it comes to insurance, the uptake is very low. Because those salesmen, some of them, you cannot trust them. They come to you looking very hungry, badly dressed. They don't know the subject. It's a high time we have them regulated. Honorable Speaker, this bill has come quite late. Most professionals in this country are regulated. I know lawyers are regulated, engineers are also regulated, architects, quantity surveyors, which has been happening for a very long time. So we really need to support. However, Madam Speaker, I've looked at some of the proposals in the Act, and I wanted to urge Mr. Washiali, we need to polish, especially when we look at the membership of the Institute. And I want to congratulate you for coming up with the Insurance Institute of Kenya. But when you look at Clause 4, the membership of the Institute, when you look at 4C, you have talked about affiliate members, comprising members who work in the insurance industries, but are not insurance professionals. And you have said such as accountants, lawyers, and members of other professional bodies. I think that one will not be in order. And again, something which I'm seeing here, which is unique, Madam Speaker, is corporate membership of professional organizations. I've never seen it. I'm seeing it for the first time. I could be wrong. I'm a professional, but I've never seen it. But I could be wrong. Maybe I just concentrate on my professional body. So we need to look at it, because I don't think a company or a corporate organization can be a member of a professional association, because that company in itself has many other stakeholders. So if you make that company a member of that organization and it has sweepers, other people in it, they can still perform what you are trying to cure. So that is something which you need to address. Then again, you have come up with many committees which you have put in the Act. I think it is not necessary, because when you set up the Insurance Institute of Kenya, I know they'll come up with many committees. So there's no need of putting up in the Act registration of insurance professional committee. And you have given them a lot of power, which has been conflict with the main council. That is something which we need to address. And again, the other thing is the Insurance Professional Examination Board. I think this is a task which we should leave to the Institute. Because there's no need of creating, again, another body. And you know where we have such bodies, they are always fighting, they always conflict. And they are not well managed. So it is better, the Institute is in charge of everything. It's in charge of registration. It is in charge of the exams. And again, discipline. Even the disciplinary committee. That disciplinary committee should be part of the Institute. There is no need of setting up a separate body to regulate discipline. Otherwise, we'll have problems and we'll not be able to manage the association well. Last but not the least, if you look at the third schedule, the chairman and vice chairman of the examination body, you are saying, if you look at 2, you are saying that they'll be in office until they resign. I think it is good you give them a timeline to perform their duties. Like we are also given a timeline here, 5 years, we are out. You cannot give the chairman and the vice chairman unlimited time to perform the roles you are envisaging here. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, with those few comments, I really want to congratulate Honorable Ashiali and urge your voters to make sure that you come back to this parliament. You performed very well as our chief whip. We still need you. You are still a young man. At 60, you are still young. Old age is 85. And you have lived, I know you exercise. You are still looking very young. You are looking very young. And there's something which I can propose here, but I don't want it to be on record. Thank you very much.
Honorable Ndwati, I'm sure you've raised a number of issues. I'm sure the Honorable Ashali is taking notes for purposes of the Committee of the Whole House. But Honorable Ashali, you also need to be careful with the motion Honorable Ndwati is toying with. And I can hear the member of Kwanza rising to second what he's saying. So if they present that to the people of Mumias East, you might be in trouble. So you need to be careful about that. Honorable Wanyonyi, Kevin.
Madam Speaker, thank you. You have just given me the right time. And I want to take this opportunity to thank my friend, my neighbor, Honorable Benjamin Moshiali, for coming up with this. When you come up with a bill, normally you are affected somehow. So I think Honorable Moshiali must have been affected. That's how he came up with this. Very nice, because I think as somebody who does registration, and I quite agree with my previous Washali, we still need you here. Because I know I'm coming back, God willing, inshallah. I'll come back, but then of course, I want you to be here so I can be able to work with you like you are doing. So please, recede that decision. And it's good, Madam Speaker, he has come up with a very good, the motive behind this bill is very, very important, and I've taken note of what he has said. One, this insurance practice is not regulated. And anywhere, I think maybe, just as I've also been affected elsewhere, it's not regulated. And therefore, we want to have standards in this particular profession, like any other professional. I'm an economist, as I said in the morning. And for me, for example, I got affected in my area, and for that reason, I've even asked questions here regarding that. So I'm sure, Honorable Oshale, whatever you have got, please, let's move on this one. You want us to have at least standards for this, and then promote some professionalism, because as said by other members here, you look at it, I think it's just anybody can walk in and walk out without regulation, without promoting that professionalism in that sector. So we need to do that as a parliament, so that it can be able to have people who are professional insurers, who can go and do the work that is supposed to be done. Because if, for example, a doctor has opened a clinic, you go there and you're having a problem, professionally be able to attend to you and be able to assist you in the way you want. But here, the insurance, unfortunately, that sector has not been done professionally. And of course, the other thing that, Washali, I want to ask you, and I think we'll move faster, is to have the so-called insurance institute, so that we have people coming up with certificates that are displayable, certificates that can be read and be told, look, yes, he has gone through this particular insurance institute. Maybe that institute has got the offering degree or diploma or whatever certificate, so that you can be able to display as you talk, say you are talking as a professional person. So again, I think, Honorable Shali, that was very good. The memorandum for having this and objective for having this particular bill, it meets all the requirements. Of course, Madam Speaker, we have a lot of problems in this country, and we need people to be employed. And we want to, this will be able to create jobs for our youths, for people who don't have anything else and they have got this particular certificate or diploma or even degree holders. So job creation will be there, given that this bill is going to be passed. And of course, again, as mentioned, I was almost asking for protection, but I think it's over. So the other thing is that, again, as suggested by Honorable Washali, we'll have that institution. We have TTI, for example. I'm setting one in Trans Nzoia. I'll have people coming from all over. And so once you're offering particular discipline, insurance, for example, we'll have students coming from all over, and they come there, and of course, we'll be promoting the economic activities of the area. And so we'll have an institution, or can be able to have this particular subject offered in one of the TTIs in the country that are coming up, so they can be having people who have done and have also got a certificate for the same. The other thing is that the misconduct, I think, is bad. Sometimes back, Madam Speaker, I had an accident. I was not the one driving, but my driver had an accident in the vehicle. I'm telling you, I was taken round, and I thought my driver was having a deal with the insurance. So I myself got involved. But up to now, almost 7 years down the line, I've not been compensated. Reason? Very obvious reason. This misconduct, and there's no way you can take them. The only place you can take them probably is take them to court. But some of them, of course, being what they are, I'm not saying the courts are bad, but you see, you find them going round and round. 7 years down the line, I've not been paid because of the misconduct of the guy. In fact, the guy, I don't know whether he's dead or alive. I've given up. But now you can imagine if your relative actually was involved in an accident. For God's sake, forbid that. But your relative has been involved in an accident and, of course, supposed to be compensated. You'll be told to pay excess money, which is okay. And so what? They come up with whatever amount for compensation, and God knows whether that particular company is also insured to pay for compensation of your next of kin. And I can tell you again, Mr. Honorable Shirley, that is good you came up with this, because then we'll be able to have compensation, standards of compensation. If one has had an accident, a relative has had an accident, you go pay your excess, fine. Whatever excess that means, I don't know what that means. But again, it's going to come up when you have passed this particular bill. Then, of course, you're waiting for compensation. Down the line, my neighbor, again, has had an accident, and the next of kin passed on. I'm told, when this bill was coming up, I talked to my neighbor, and she told me her husband has never been paid, despite paying the excess. So, This insurance body must be regulated. The other thing is that so that we don't have cheaters, people who cheat, we'll then have the insurance certificate maybe displayed on the door. And like this is a doctor so and so. This is if you do, for example, the engineering and or architect, you know for the profession. But today you don't even know. You just get into a deal with an insurance just because maybe a neighbor or a friend has told you that insurance is good for me. It's a friend of mine who's there. You go there, and so again we'll have then this particular insurance companies, so-called, if they are registered, can display their certificates and what have you. Lastly, and not the least, again, I think from the point of view of my honorable friend, they'll be having practicing certificates or licenses. So I want to agree that is again something that, so they don't have the quacks who come in and they don't know what they're doing, but for heaven's sake, they are insurers. And I can tell you, again, those are quacks that we see all over the place. And you have no time I am time, man. You don't come to tell me how long I'm going to speak. So I think with those very many remarks, Madam Speaker, I support the motion and the bill, and I wish it came in maybe 10 years ago before, but okay, so we're going to fast track this so that can be put in practice. I support. Thank you.
Honorable Kimari, member for Matthew.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to give my comments on this very important bill. And I would want to tell my brother Washali on the onset that I support. Although I would request my brother Washali to also create time before we get to the next level to have a meeting with stakeholders from the insurance industry. And the insurance industry is extremely important to understand it. I have personally been in this industry for more than 20 years in the insurance companies and even in the broking field. And I can say that insurance is a very important, if it is done in the right manner, it plays a very major role in our GDP. We have seen a lot of things that have been done by the insurance companies in this country, which are right in a very big way. What we need to do is to ensure that discipline can also be managed. But more importantly, not to kill organizations that are already doing something that can also be strengthened within those organizations. For one, we have had the Kenya College of Insurance, which is accredited to set examinations in the insurance industry. It is actually renowned in Africa. Actually, the examinations they set are acknowledged in the entire, almost 33 countries. Carry their tests that are actually set by the College of Insurance here in Kenya. So we should not kill that organization. What we need to do is to ensure that we can expand it, to be able to work with other organizations, as recommended by Washiali, even TVETs, to ensure that they can have teachers in those TVETs, but to ensure that the College of Insurance continues to set the examinations and standards of examinations, because that is a function that they have been given and is renowned worldwide for that function. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of registration. Just like banks, insurance industry is an industry that collects money. It pulls resources from Kenyans to ensure that risks can be managed at the right time. When they have losses, those losses can be managed. It is the pooling of the resources that needs to be understood very critically. And we need to understand some risks, Honorable Speaker, can be enormous and needs to be properly managed. We have insurance companies, we have agents, we have brokers, we have reinsurance companies, and all these have institutions that manage what they do and what they need to do at the right time. Honorable Speaker, we passed a law in this House last year, even to ensure that we can manage when premiums can be paid, when claims can be paid, All we need to ensure is that an organization like this can come in to ensure that they make proper follow-up of the laws that have already been set by this House, in terms of ensuring that publics don't feel cheated. If you have a car that has had an accident, you must be compensated on time. If, for instance, if you have a house that is burnt, you need to ensure the proper channels have been followed. We have assessors, we have loss adjusters. There are so many organizations that play a very vital part in the insurance industry. We therefore cannot remove the issue of regulation and the registration from the Treasury and the central bank, for instance, because they are pulling resources from public in terms of even what capitals that the insurance companies can have. Those are set by government and through the relevant organizations. And I think like the insurance regulatory authority has also been playing a very important task. What we need to ensure is the management of those players in the field. And for me, I think that is extremely important. The other function that probably that needs to be really strengthened is, and I support Washiali on this, is the issue of penetration of the insurance covers. The penetration of insurance covers in this country is very low. It is currently at around 6%. And that needs to, we need to ensure, how can we be able to ensure Kenyans know the products that are available, and particularly products that help them in terms of saving for the future. There are products that are very important. If you go to South Africa, for instance, more of their population takes the life covers than they take for the general covers. In Kenya, it's the reverse. We have people wanting to insure their products than insuring themselves. So we need to ensure that Kenyans can understand the need to save and for purposes of ensuring that it is for their own good in the future. That, I think, is something that needs to be looked at, Washiali. And the other issue I really support is the issue of discipline. Discipline is extremely important in any industry. And an organization like this can come in handy to ensure that they manage discipline, to ensure that all the key players understand their roles, understand their key roles, and that they can be able to perform those roles within their mandate that they have been given. The issue of research and promotion of products is extremely also important. Publishing of books that can be used and materials can be regulated through an organization like this. But let us ensure the other stakeholders, because we have, for instance, we have an association of insurance brokers where I have personally served in the past as a board member. I understand we need to ensure that an organization like that can be given teeth to manage insurance brokers. We have an organization like AKI, which manages the affairs of insurance companies. Can we ensure that they have enough powers to ensure that they can regulate underwriters and reinsurers? Can we also ensure that the Institute of Loss Adjusters, can also be able to manage those loss assessors and adjusters to ensure that they can be able to perform their tasks and duties as necessary and with speed, to ensure that those who have been compensated can get their compensations on time. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to comment. Washiali, I urge you, we support this bill, but please bring all these players to a round table. I think it will be important to also hear and take their views so that you can understand what each organization plays in the value chain of the insurance industry. And that way, we will be able to have a bill that is thorough and that will be able to help the entire country and also the insuring public. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Wandai.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity to contribute to this bill. Let me start, Madam Speaker, by congratulating the Honorable Ben Washiali for this wonderful initiative. Madam Speaker, you know, I've heard a lot of my colleagues talk about Ben Washiali and his future plans. But Madam Speaker, you know, Honorable Washiali is my neighbor back home there. Honorable Washiali represents Mumias East constituency and previously the Greater Mumias, which neighbors Ugunja constituency, and therefore we have good neighbors. In fact, when he came to this house the first time in 2007, he came on ODM ticket. Thereafter, of course, he went to UDF, and finally, I think, some other party. But all the same, I wish to wish him well in his future endeavors. And I'm sure even if he doesn't want to come back here, the good work he started can be carried forward by able members who will be coming back, like Honorable Engineer Ndwati, Honorable Kimari, Honorable Tongi. I saw him here. A few of them whom I know will come, most likely, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, this work will not go in vain. Honorable Ashali, again, in the past, his decision not to run again may be a godsend to me, because in the past I've found it very difficult to try and decampaign him, being a very good member of mine. But since he's now leaving, this is a good chance for me to try and campaign for our candidate who will be running on ODM ticket. I'm sure this time down that constituency, the East together with the West will vote together in bringing to Parliament ODM MPs. That is our prayer. Yeah. Now with Ashali now out of the way. Yeah. Previously it was difficult for me to face him head on.
Focus, Honorable Wandai.
It is important because this bill must be put in the right context. Yes, it's a bill which is coming.
I'm just trying, relevance, and you know that.
Yes.
What is the relevance of campaigning for ODM and the insurance law?
You will get to know shortly why ODM and this bill are interrelated. Madam Speaker, I've gone through the objects, the memorandum of objects and reasons for this bill, because I haven't had time to read the whole entire bill. And of course, I have been able to understand from the short text of the title of the bill, okay, what it's all about. I'm only concerned, or I believe that there's an excess has been created between this bill and the foundational act, the Insurance Act that governs insurance in this country. Because I'm aware that the Insurance Act establishes the Insurance Regulatory Authority, the IRA, whose functions are quite similar to the functions which are being provided here to be under the Insurance Institute of Kenya and the board. So I hope that there has been an attempt to reconcile all this so that there is no conflict, between the bodies or the functions of these new bodies and the Insurance Authority under the Insurance Act. But all the same, it is important that a growing economy such as ours, a growing economy such as Kenya's, is supported by a robust insurance sector that is well regulated. And this is, I suppose, is part of the reasons why this bill has been initiated, because it has got very, very pragmatic proposals to try and regulate the sector, including setting exams for the professionals in the sector, for them to be able to provide these services in a manner, in an environment which is regulated. And Madam Speaker, insurance as old as we can imagine. In fact, we are told that the first insurance was marine insurance. It's the Greeks and the Romans who first practiced insurance. By that time, they were dealing basically with insurance of the marine vessels. Okay? But over time, insurance has evolved to be what it is currently. And as economies grow, and we believe the economy of this country is going to grow exponentially, and especially once the new government under Zimio takes over in August, the economy is likely to grow exponentially, and such growth must be supported by a robust insurance sector. That is my point. And therefore, Mhono Bashali must have had good foresight. Yes, that you need to have a sector which is regulated, which is robust, which is dynamic, that can support growth of the economy under the new administration that we pray will come in smoothly in August. Okay? Yes, I can see my friend Honorable Sankok is curious, but that is the point, really, that we need to be prepared for the eventual growth of this economy. So this insurance, this bill has come at the right time. And the issues it's addressing are issues which are pertinent. Because insurance, Madam Speaker, is all about taking care of risks. And you know, risks, as the name suggests, are things that you cannot really be sure of. They are future occurrences which you cannot predict and which you have got no control over. So as a business person, as a practitioner in the economy, you want to be sure that when you insure risks, the insurer is somebody, first of all, who is competent. And secondly, the insurer is properly regulated. That is very important. And that's what will give you confidence as a business person to invest your money more and more in your businesses. Because as businesses grow, the risks, of course, invariably increase. And these risks have to be insured for modern business to thrive. And therefore, Honorable Shelley, thank you very much. And I support this bill fully. I just hope that it can be fast-tracked for it to be enacted into law before we adjourn eventually. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Honorable Namsi Shaban.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also add my voice to congratulate my brother, Benjamin Jomo Washiali, for a job well done. This insurance bill, professional registration bill, is long overdue. We want to see sanity in that sector. We want to see hygiene in that sector. We want to see neatness in that sector. Madam Speaker, most Kenyans at first did not know the meaning of insurance. But today, the world being a global village, everything has to do with insurance. And in Kenya, Kenyans are actually embracing insurance, and they have learned the importance of having insurance. But unfortunately, Kenyans are suffering terribly just because we have too many quacks working in this area. Some of them, I would call them just pedestrian conmen, because they would sell premiums, but at the same time, people would not see the benefit of those premiums. Starting from education, health, car, motor vehicles, insurance, and many other sectors, insurance is one of the most important pillars of today's life. Madam Speaker, when our brother Washiali came up with this idea, I think a lot of thought went into it. Many people have suffered here in Kenya, and today we are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, because introducing professionalism where insurance is concerned is the best way forward. We know that in other countries in the developed world, people do not miss out on the benefits of insurance, except here in our country, where most of the insurance and even the insurance brokers have taken people for granted. They've gotten all these clients. They are very good in sweet-talking people, but when it comes to people benefiting from their premiums, then certainly things go wrong. Madam Speaker, when you look at it, most people have gone through court battles in things which would have been such straightforward things. When some poor person out there in Taveta at the grassroots level has had a problem in an accident and they have to go to court, and a case would be there for over 10 years and they are not compensated, and at the end of the day, by the time they are compensated, the insurance would take their sweet time to make sure that these people get their rightful dues. Madam Speaker, really a lot has been said. I just want to add my voice in congratulating my brother, and also add my voice to all my colleagues who have spoken before me, and say that we are on the right track. Certainly we'll see the good fruits of having our people being insured. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Kitayama Maisori.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate my friend Benjamin Washiali for this very timely bill and very accurate in its timing. The insurance industry, Madam Speaker, employs very many people. Many young people who are in the universities and other colleges, when they get an opportunity, even in their spare time, they engage in this industry. And it has therefore given many people an opportunity even to know what they want to be in future. And as a matter of principle, even if he didn't do anything else, just that fact that you have predictability in an insurance, in a sector that is serving a lot of people and churning a lot of money. The industry in itself controls a lot of money as a percentage of the GDP. And it is important that that kind of investment that Kenyans are putting in is able to be regulated. And in the process of it being regulated, the industry is even becoming better. You know, sometimes it is even the growth of the industry in itself. Regulation is not necessarily a bad thing. Just regulating it in itself will make the industry much, much better. Madam Speaker, all of us have experiences with industry, either ourselves or people that are known to us. There are times, Madam Speaker, you can be taken round in circles because of matters insurance, and you do not know have anyone to address to, especially if these insurances are done by banks. A bank may finance you, and then the same banks have decided to run insurance businesses. And Madam Speaker, then you find yourself in a scenario that you are unable to manage this facility that has been given to you. It is run by the same people who have given you money to get this insurance. And before you know it, Madam Speaker, you are also falling short on insurance, you are falling short on premiums, you are falling short on everything, and they will run you out of town if you are not careful. And this has happened to many people. Aside from that, the industry has evolved into everything else. There's the asset insurance, there's the health insurance, there's all sorts of insurances, including professional indemnity and all these other insurances. Since the industry is touching on each and every sector of life, Madam Speaker, the more reason why it should be regulated. And as other speakers have spoken earlier, it is not regulating so that the industry is killed. It is regulating because it has been seen and it is clear that the industry is a major contributor to the economy of this country. And for it to be made better, then the country is going to be much, much better. And I know, Madam Speaker, if this was to happen, and my friend Washiali, if we would actually improve this more, so that aside from just regulating it, we are also able to have a database that is verifiable, so that not every other person who's out there is able to claim to be an insurance provider. And believe me, those that are pretenders to the throne are the ones who even get poor businesses, because they have a sweet tongue, because insurance is about selling hope. And if people can sell hope to you, you know, and we've known very serious people who have been conned or swindled out of their hard-earned money. Why? Because somebody was able to speak to them in a very, very nice language. So, Madam Speaker, if for nothing else, let the insurance industry be regulated for the good of the insurance industry. and the fact that it is employing many young people, many young people, and even those that are not. It is an industry that you can enter and exit at whatever age. There are many people, Madam Speaker, who have left or been retrenched and they have nothing else, but because they are able to talk to you, they are able to earn a living. So, Madam Speaker, this is a bill that whose time could have easily come earlier, but then God's time is the best, and Benjamin Washiali, even as you exit this for better service of this country, we just want to wish you well and say that this effort is not going to go unrewarded, and it will be rewarded by those of us who are going to be here to make sure that it is properly executed into law, and into law that actually helps this country. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Risa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate my brother, Honorable Washiali, for this bill to regulate and establish this institute. That this is an important industry to the whole walk of life of Kenyans. Many Kenyans are required to have this insurance. And many Kenyans are suffered, sometimes without even knowing the importance of the insurance. So to regulate this industry, the examination to a standard is so important and prudent to the people of Kenya in many other things that need to be insured. So I take this opportunity to congratulate my brother, Honorable Washiali, who is also a very strong member of the
You're the Speaker's father.
Imagine.
That's what you want to
If
say.
you are the third most powerful person while you are in that seat in this country, now you can imagine who is your father.
Go on.
And how powerful the father is. So thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me support this bill by Honorable Washiali. you know that Honorable Washali is a very progressive leader who have been our majority whip. In fact, even up to now, today, I still believe in him, and he's still my leader, despite the fact that there were some little commotion in that very small party of ours called Jubilee that have been reduced into an ethnic political party that have the party leader and the Secretary General and the Vice Chairman of that party coming from a distance of 3 kilometers from each other. They come from the same village. They are buddies, and they can walk from one home to another one. So, Honorable Speaker, so to us who believe in the Hustler movement, he's still our majority whip. And he is a progressive leader. He built KMTC from scratch, from buying land up to now there are students studying in that particular college. So, Honorable Speaker, as I support, we need professionalism in this very important, noble profession, because it is about risk. Insurance is about risk. It is about what I may encounter that is not favorable to me, Honorable Speaker. And when we have quacks in that particular field, and you assume you are insured, and you get an accident, Honorable Speaker, it is only that time that you realize that you are dealing with a quack, because the industry is not regulated, the profession is not regulated. Honorable Speaker, we have Kenyans who feel they are insured only to fall sick, to go to hospital, to realize that this insurance was fake, or sometimes even the insurance is not comprehensive, it is third party, because we are dealing with an industry that is very important that is not regulated. That is why, Honorable Speaker, I support this bill so that we can regulate this very important profession, so that we will be dealing with profession who are controlled by the professional ethics and controlled by law, Honorable Speaker, because sometimes when Kenya encounter such mismanagement of this profession, they don't have anywhere to run to, because if you go to a court of law, there must be a law that will be able to be evoked by the judiciary to be able to act, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill is overdue, and I urge the whole House that we support, so that as we go to form the next government, which is the UDA government, and probably seated on my right is also a potential candidate of running mate, so you should know your deputy president in advance, so that you can consult with him around the precinct of parliament, because it is a possibility. A running mate of UDA must come from within this house, so you should know some people. So, Honorable Speaker, now I support.
Honorable Tongi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Having listened to my colleagues who have spoken ahead of me, I agree with them 100%. My Honorable Speaker, in my life of service, I've had an opportunity of working in the insurance industry, and I know pretty well the impact of the insurance industry to the economy. If you look at the developed countries in the world, where they have succeeded, Honorable Speaker, the insurance industries are very, very strong. In Kenya, the average insurance taker usage is about 2%, which is a very, very minimal number compared to the potential out there. And that's why we are saying, Honorable Speaker, that this bill is going to help, and help a lot. And that's why we are grateful that Honorable Washari had the foresight to see the opportunities and the opportunities of employment, creating employment for the youth, so that they can also have a chance to work and serve Kenyans. The biggest challenge we are having today, both for this government and the governments to come, is unemployment, Honorable Speaker. And the one such way of ensuring that there is going to be a viable employment, a good opportunity of employment, is by ensuring that we're having a working insurance, which is well regulated, where a customer has paid his premium is as good as low, and whenever the incident happens, you'll be assured of compensation, Honorable Speaker. Because I can hear my colleagues who also want to say something about this, and I had so much to say about the insurance industry, being that it's one of my primary employer from university, and the AR insurance company was a great company. They gave me an opportunity, then followed by the Solution Health, which gave me a wonderful opportunity, and a great leader.
you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.